Hello everyone, this is Joshua Custodio, aka S.K.I.L.L in the game, and probably also in the internet as well. And this is my first Special Force 2 tutorial. I'm gonna be basically discussing some basic techniques, some tricks, and some important points on using assault rifles in the game. Basically, this is my first tutorial, so I'm not actually pretty much really can explain clearly, but I will try my best to actually explain a little bit, just because it's purely based on my experience, purely based on what I'm basically doing within the game and how I play, and all those kind of stuff. Well, um, first of all, I will assume that probably most of you already know what's the basic in the game, like shooting, like crouching, and all those kind of mechanics. We'll basically just assume that you guys know that for now, because I guess most of you who will be watching this are already playing the game for a very long time, and I guess you already have familiarized yourself for that thing. So let's get started. Okay, I don't know what the first thing I will discuss, but anyway, let's discuss first on spraying. So, well, we know that spraying is basically shooting enemies, right? Yes, indeed. So if you spray out, you just basically shoot your gun, shoot a lot of bullets into the enemy, and that's pretty much it. But as a matter of fact, you just need to actually, what really matters is how you do it rightly, or how you do it right, in a right way. Because I guess most people do spray a lot of mistake and don't actually have to pay attention to what it should be done in order to actually do the very best way in spraying. Okay, so I will actually discuss first what is the two types of spray, and based on my experience. Basically what we know is two. We know that we call this term called pull spray if we actually just hold out our mouse button and just spray over the enemy like this.
Reloading.
And we know that it's just basically full spray. But we also have actually what we call half spray, where you just actually tap your mouse button to shoot like this.
Reloading.
Okay. So this is the two main types of spraying, I guess, for me. But I will actually do it really rightly to give you some tip on how you actually have to manage it. First, you have to consider let's consider distances, because basically that is really important to take point on distances. You need to take point what is the distance of you alongside the enemy. Okay, let's actually spawn an enemy in that position, and we're gonna be actually place our position right down there. So we're gonna spawn. Guess I don't know what to here, but I'll put it right here and right there. Okay. For example, we want to actually spray 3 enemies in this side. So we have an enemy in a very long range right down there. We also have an enemy right down there, and this one. Okay, what is my tip on spraying? Basically, you cannot actually do pull spray. What I mean is you cannot actually like that. You can actually yours is pretty much impractical to do that. That you just actually pull spray right there. You might get lucky shots on there, you might kill the enemy in that, but basically it's not pretty practical. What usually players do, if you're actually pretty knowledgeable in the game, is they actually just tap the mouse for like 1 to 2 bullets, like that.
Cover me, I'm reloading.
And that's pretty much it. Just actually shoot out enemies like that. And it's actually relatively the best way that you can do it, because you can actually make sure that the bullets reach enemy perfectly and not like this.
Cover me, I'm
where you
reloading.
just basically have to miss a lot of bullets before you just kill out. Maybe, and you will actually get owned in that matter. Just a waste of time. So it's really practical that you can do just like that,
Reloading.
and and also if you notice what I'm doing, I also do strapping. Or strapping, or mean I just do little movements while I'm shooting, like
Tango
that.
down.
Let's assume that the enemy just shooting you, and you can do
Tango.
some
Cover me,
little
I'm reloading.
movements, like I just manipulate my movement speed, my movement keys, and like that. Well, what's the usage of it? Basically, um, it's really good that you actually do that, especially in long range, because it will make sure that the enemy will miss a lot of bullets, because you actually can dodge a lot of them while shooting you. If you actually just place yourself in a fixed position, you're just basically easier for the enemy to shoot you at that range, whatever it is. So it's really practical if you, while spraying in a very long range, you should actually do some little movements like that,
Enemy down.
like what I'm doing. I just manipulate
Reloading.
my mouse, my movement speed, movement keys like that, and that's pretty much it. Okay, let's say we now in this case where in this range, where, well, you can actually spray more bullets in this manner.
Reloading.
You can spray more bullets. That's good because it's actually more closer. You can actually make sure that the bullets will reach the enemy closer. Again, I
Reloading.
always do is usually always do some little movements
Enemy
like
down.
that.
Cover
And
me,
that's
I'm
pretty much it.
reloading.
Okay. Now, if you actually call short range like this, you can actually pretty much do both,
Reloading.
which is actually pretty self-explanatory. So we have to take point as you get closer with, as the range of you get closer to the enemy, as your distances gets closer. It's have more control to your to your shooting, and you have more way. You can actually more bullets to spray with. So just to have to keep in mind on that. Okay, so what I guess other things that I can say. Well, it's also of course aiming. So I always practice myself to shoot enemies while not using my aim assistance like this. I always shoot like this at the
Enemy
enemy
down.
when if I'm gonna be rushing,
Reloading.
because it's actually much easier. You will have more control with the gun itself.
Enemy
You'll
down.
see.
Reloading.
But if I actually do like this, where I just
Tango
need to
down.
aim,
Enemy.
it
Cover
will
me, I'm
actually take
reloading.
also a lot of time. Well, just assume that this two training dummies are actually actual enemies and they are really moving, and you don't want to waste opportunity just aiming in a very close position. You will actually risking yourself being shooted, because aiming will take split second to it, and it's also pretty precious to do that. And also keep in mind as well that at some point when you're aiming, the bullet turns to miss, and you will see like that,
Cover me, I'm
right?
reloading.
Because it's actually just pretty correspondent to what is the spray pattern of
Reloading.
the G360 or whatever gun that you've been using. And I don't know what the next I can do. Okay, also I will actually point out is, you should actually practice yourself doing headshots. It's always practical that you always shoot the enemies in the head, because what's good in Special Force 2 right now is if you shoot the enemy like in the head, it actually
Enemy down.
instantly kills
Cover me, I'm
them
reloading.
regardless of their armor. Well, if you shoot the body, it will
Reloading.
take more bullets to kill with, and that's actually have to keep in point what is the damage dealt by the gun in all the parts of the body. So it's really practical that you will always practice yourself shooting at the enemy
Tango
in the head.
down. Enemy
That.
down. Enemy down. Reloading.
Right? So it's actually it takes a practice
Tango.
to
Enemy
do that.
down.
And
Tango down.
I guess this is a really
Enemy
good
down.
this is a really good way
Tango
to actually train your
reloading.
muscle memory, that you always have to shoot in the head. So Well, just actually have to keep a point on that. What is actually more? I already teach the how to actually aim like that. Okay. One also a tip that I can say when using a assault rifle: do not actually rush too much. You actually have to take point of your position. Again, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Just take position, you know where to hide, and you get abused at it. Okay, what's else? I know what's else is that. Well, basically, I guess what actually some other tips that I can say is basically practical, like quick picking and picking. So basically, it's pretty easy to do. All you just need is to actually simultaneously use your movement speed and do like this, and
Enemy down. Reloading.
basically it's a really good idea if you actually want to shoot people in the corner where it's hiding. For example, there's an enemy hiding out there. You would actually do quick picking and
Tango
will
down. Enemy.
actually
Cover me, I'm reloading.
practice to do quick picking on most times. Also, besides what I actually teach you in the first time, it's actually strapping. Strapling, I don't know what is this, but yeah. I also want to emphasize crouch. So crouching, it's also a pretty good thing to crouch, because also it will also a way for the enemy to miss you when he's shooting you. Because usually if you're standing still, they will always shoot you in that direction where they shoot you while standing. But if you actually try to crouch a little bit while killing the enemy, for example, if this guy shoots me right down, I will usually just crouch and kill him
Tango.
like that.
Cover me, I'm
And
reloading.
it's actually the easiest way that you can do. Okay. What are other ways? You know? Okay, so I guess that's pretty much it for now. Those techniques that I can say, because basically it's all about practicing. It's all about taking powder. Oh, I guess it's around say the most important thing that I will consider. Always practice to control the recoil. As I always say, good for this gun G360. It actually has a very relatively low recoil, relatively low recoil in my opinion. But you will actually see the recoil is relatively high,
Cover me, I'm reloading.
especially in standing position. You can see
Cover
that
me,
it's
I'm
actually more
reloading.
spread out. You just actually have to study for yourself to control it. This,
Cover me, I'm reloading.
and it's a really good thing that you actually aiming as well. It actually, and that's why I
Reloading.
always emphasize to not to actually full spray, because it's actually not really good in most cases.
Cover
If
me,
you
I'm
will see, it's
reloading.
actually not pretty precise. But if I actually do just tapping, I
Reloading.
basically get more precise position out there. You know. Okay, I guess another thing before I actually proceed with another thing that I could say is, you know, it's not just matter of precision. It's not matter of how you spray. You also have to consider accuracy as well. So basically, it's as I always emphasize, always shoot the
Tango
head.
down.
Whatever
Enemy
happens,
down.
always shoot with the head.
Reloading.
Always target the head of the enemy. Because what matters in the game is how fast people shoot enemies each other in the head. Because this is actually the quickest way
Enemy
to kill an enemy.
Enemy down.
As you actually said,
Tango down.
will actually.
Tango. Cover me, I'm
Okay.
reloading.
So, you know, it doesn't matter that. So, for example, if you actually just, you know, practicing it, but you actually not very accurate,
Cover me, I'm
it's just
reloading.
basically useless. So, you just actually more on practice. Anyway, I guess that's pretty much it with the spraying. I will actually teach one last thing. So, I'm gonna be quitting. So, the next thing is front, I guess. So, I will show you my settings. So, let's go here. So, let's go here. Always, one of the things that I always do is always enable character shadows on. Why is that so? Well, maybe for some people, it's actually graphical related. It's graphics. If you turn it on, it will actually slow down your PC, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't actually affects a lot. Remember that Special Force 2 just only need very relatively low specification of hardware to function properly. And I guess turning the character shadow on is not very significant way to decrease your FPS. Because what I always emphasize is when I'm playing FPS game, I always on character shadows because it's really useful to determine in where corners of the enemies are looking. So to emphasize that, I gotta go return again to the training to the training. Let's say that we have a enemy in the corner.
Eliminate all enemy.
Tango down.
Delete. Let's say here or here. Let's say where's the shadow the hell? So for example, you can see that I already own the shadows. But let's say there's an enemy hiding here like this, and let's assume that you can see his shadow here. Basically, always emphasize that you actually have to take advantage of the shadow because if you know that there's a shadow there and there is no highlight of an teammate, you know that there's an enemy's hiding there. And that's a pretty good way to actually have an awareness to the map because if you actually get aware with the shadow where is it been positioned, you will already know that you will be aware to yourself that you're really indeed in danger at that time. So actually that's a good thing to emphasize with. Okay, I'm gonna be returning for brilliant levels. Other settings, I guess they're pretty much self-explanatory. I always prepare low graphic settings because it's better to have better FPS. It will have more time for you to react with the actions happening in the game. This is my settings. They're not pretty much self-explanatory. You just actually have to modify it. And in terms of mouse sensitivity, you just actually do what is comfortable to you. You don't want to have a mouse that is too slow or too fast. Well, I guess it's just all a matter of preferences, and I guess that's for now that I can teach you on how to improve tips in the game. Again, I'm not actually really good teacher for this kind of things, but I actually tried my best to explain you a bit of it. Well, if you have actually any questions, you're free to ask me about it, and let's actually talk it perfectly. So that's pretty much it, and I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial by me. This is again Josh City, and see you guys next time.